a great deal of history that you should know. But I'm afraid that I must continue my writing. Here. Most of what you'll need to know is in there. Keep it well hidden. For all reasons you'll discover, I can't send you to Riven with a way out. But I can give you this. It appears to be a linking book, back here to Dunny. But it's actually a one-man prison. You'll need it, I'm afraid, to capture Gehn. Once you've found Catherine, signal me, and I'll come with a linking book to bring us back. There's also a chance, if this all goes well, that I might be able to get you back to the place that you came from.
Yo? Ma fia di gaie. Cacaware po. Ma dove vuoi po me po? Tagema. Rekoa. Tagema. Musu rekoa. Wisirapo. Wisirapo. Umutika bukua nai. Wisirapo. Umutika bukua nai. Bukuan ay. Sirap. Bukuan ay. Bukuan. Bukuan. Bukuan ay.
Stealing dead bodies.
All right, now I can talk. Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the Gamer's Grotto. Tonight we're going to be playing Riven, the sequel to Myst. Now, I'm going to try and do this all in one playthrough, but I feel like it's going to be in at least 2 parts. I'm not entirely certain, but I do know that I can kind of speed run this game. I know the solution to most of the puzzles. There's 2 puzzles in the game that are randomly generated that I don't obviously know the answer to, so I'll have to use a pen and paper to write down any of those hints that I can get for those puzzles. Now, Riven is one of my favorite point-and-click puzzle adventure games. I actually grew up with this game. When it came out, the year it came out originally back on PC, I got it that year for Christmas from my dad. And I remember at that point having a lot of problems with the game. Not so much running it, but having problems with some of the puzzles in it. So I remember the very next day after Christmas, my dad went into town and bought me the strategy guide. And so he came back with a strategy guide, and I still have the strategy guide to this day, but I don't know where it is. it's somewhere in a box. I don't have access to it. So and then when I got this game, we didn't have internet, so that's why he bought me the strategy guide. At the time, we didn't have internet, so I had to rely on that. Now, to me, Myst was a really boring game. I had Myst as well, but I'd never got anywhere in Myst back in the day. Now, I intend to play it on this channel because when I picked up the remaster edition of Myst and Riven on the PS5, I grabbed them both. But obviously, Riven being my favorite game, I wanted to play it first. Kind of a reverse order, I guess. But Riven was always out of all of the Myst games, Riven holds a very special place in my heart. Now this guard here that greets us is actually one of Gehn's henchmen, who is the main enemy in the game. He steals the trap book that we are supposed to use, that Atrus gives us, that we're supposed to use to capture Gehn. He steals it, and then what ends up happening is one of the Dani warriors, or guardsmen, or whatever the hell they are, ends up shooting him with a blowpipe, knocking him out, throwing him off the side of the cliff, and taking the trap book. So now the Dani guy has the trap book, and we'll get it back from them later on in the game. But basically, the original plan was for Gehn's henchmen to take that book so that we can't use it. So as soon as we start here, we're thrown into our first puzzle. So we're going to rotate this wonderful contraption a couple of times. Now, on the PC version of the game, there is a way to skip all this animation. Not so much on the PlayStation. I don't think I've ever come across a skip button, which is what it is. I mean, I don't really like to skip these animations because you lose your immersiveness by doing that. I mean, you want to be immersed in the experience, so skipping past all the dialogue and the animations is just stupid. Again, you can really see where the other game that I was streaming recently, Amarzone, got its inspiration from, was indeed Riven. I mean, it's really interesting because you kind of see it, but then to actually hear that was the case is like, it puts all the pieces together. It's that, yes, he was inspired by Riven to make Amarzone. He actually said in interviews that the creator of Amarzone, that Riven heavily inspired him actually to make Amarzone, and so it was really cool to get an Unreal Engine 5 remake of that game, considering that Amarzone would have come out in the late 90s, early 2000s, and back then, graphically, that game was not that good. But you can see, if you missed the Amarzone stream, you can see part 1 of that stream on my YouTube channel. Simply go over to my playlist section, you'll find it in there. And Stu and I played that one together when I streamed that. Now, Stu wanted to be here for this stream, but I guess he's busy this weekend, so he's not going to be here. So it is what it is. Now, I can never remember how many times we have to rotate this damn thing. I think it's 3 times. Okay, yes, yes, because then we have to... That's right, we have to go through this door first. I keep forgetting that. Oh, wait, that door is closed too. Alrighty, right. Alright, yes. So we need to rotate this some more. That's what I figured. Now, if you get the PS5 version of this game, which is the one that I'm playing, you'll get a lot of trophies in the game. You'll get a trophy for every ending to the game, because there's multiple endings to Riven. There's, I think, 7 endings in total, or something like that. Obviously, there's a good ending, and then multiple bad endings. I've actually platinumed Riven on the PS5 already, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Again, going back to a game that I grew up with and really played the shit out of as a kid and really enjoyed. I mean, like, to me, back in the day, Riven was, I don't want to say photorealistic, but it definitely felt that way back then. Looking at it now, I don't know what I was thinking, but certainly back then, to me, it was photorealistic. Alright, now did we do this right? I think we did. Yes, I can already see that doorway that I need. So technically we don't have to do all of this right now. I like to get it out of the way. Because later on in the game, we're going to be coming back here, and we're going to need to move everything around, move the staircase to get to the marble puzzle, and it just makes more sense to do this puzzle, this part of the game at the very beginning, so you're not just adding more more shit later on in the game than you really need to do. It's like, well, we're here right now. Let's just do it now. Okay, now that that's open, we want to go back. So, Lewis, I'm curious, did you ever play Riven back in the day or not? Now, I have streamed the VR remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. Remake, I guess, because it's changed a lot of stuff from the original Riven. I have streamed Riven VR on my YouTube channel already. You can find it on my channel. Just search up Riven VR. You'll probably see it on there. And honestly, I didn't like that game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not like it. It deviated so far from what I remembered that I'm one of those gamers who really doesn't like change. I don't mind if things are remastered, but when they're remastered or remade to the point where they're adding like all new content to the game and changing like everything That to me, yeah, I didn't like that. It was just too much of a change for me. I mean, granted, there is still a lot in Riven VR that was the same, but there was a lot that was different, and I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that things were not in the in the places that I remember them being when I played the original Riven. Suddenly, you had all these new locations that had new puzzles, or even things that in the original game were in a totally different area. So, like as an example, the rail cart, was not in the same area, and it's just things like that. And I didn't much care for it. I thought it was too much of a change. I know what they were trying to do. The other thing I didn't like was, so in Myst VR, they gave us the option to play the game with the original video, or to have like the CGI characters. And so I always played the game with the original video characters, because that's how I liked it like that. It felt more immersive for me. In Riven, they don't give you the option. They just literally make you play with the CGI Unreal Engine 5 characters, and honestly, they look too cartoony. That they draw me out of the experience. When I'm seeing like Atrus or Gehn, and they look like they've stepped out of a Saturday morning cartoon. So I didn't much care for that, and I know why they did that, because Rand did say that the reason they did that was because when they tried incorporating the live-action video footage from the original Riven against the Unreal Engine 5 environment, it looked ridiculous. It looked really bad. And so, granted, I do understand why they did it, but at the same time, I don't know. The characters just don't look as good. They just look really cartoony and out of place. Bit of lag there on that cursor. I noticed that whenever there's like certain animated segments in the game, sometimes we get a little bit of lag on the cursor, which again is what it is. I mean, I'm just happy that this game finally got a port to the PS5. I mean, I just don't understand why it took so long. It's not like the PS5 can't handle this game. Okay, so we're going to go down here first. Oh, or not. Do I not have that powered up yet? Oh, I guess I have to pull that switch first, if I remember correctly. I don't even know if that powers that right now or not, but we'll check that out in a sec here. Because I think it does. I think now we'll have power going to this elevator, and we wanna go down. Oh, no. Okay, so I guess we get power to that later on then. I could have sworn that we could do it right now, but I guess not. Fair enough. All right, so we've done everything we need to do in this area to for later on, for when we have to do the marble puzzle near the end of the game. It just makes sense to do it, get everything ready, get everything set up now, so that I'm not having to come back later and redo steps that I could have easily done at the beginning of the game. I never understood the rest of the functions for that chair. It never made any sense to me. Like I never, even back then, I was like, well, the rest of that really wasn't much of a puzzle. It was just you could just fuck around with the chair. But I'm assuming that that room is like a room to record holographs. Because throughout the game we're gonna get like these holograms of Catherine and Gehn, and I feel like that was the chamber that they recorded the holograms in. Because at one point in the game, if you come back to this island and you open the doors and come in here, you see a hologram of Gehn staring back at you in here. And I always felt that at that point Gehn had left a, I don't know why, a recording of himself for us to find. Now, when I was a kid and I played this, I remember being blown away by the rail cart segments and the mine cart segments when you're riding these fantastical vehicles to the other islands. Because in Myst, you were just like finding linking books and then, you know, touching the books. I mean, it was still cool, but certainly this was cooler. Being able to just ride these things, it was a really unique experience, really different, and certainly used again for the later Myst games as well. I still find it kind of funny that they add this reading disc shit to this game. This is a digital game. There is no disc to read. I don't understand why they kept that in for aesthetic purposes, I suppose. It's just kind of weird to me. It's not needed. Like, just have it transition properly. I also don't understand why we have a DVD release of Riven, which kind of clears up a lot of the graphical quality and also has it so that everything is read off of one DVD. Why we couldn't port that version to the PS5? Like, why did you port the PS1 version of Riven and then make it so that you can mess around?
Game, I guess.
Hey, Izzy. I'm wondering, yeah, maybe for those who grew up with the PS1 version, it's nostalgic, but for a digital game, it makes zero sense to be like, okay, we're reading the disc. What disc? What disc are you reading? Because I don't have a disc that you're reading. I always felt that, as a kid, I always thought the little bug animation was really cool. The little beetle. Just going up to it up close. seeing its little animations. It's pretty cool. And then if you move your cursor towards it, it would fly away. Really cool animations for the time. I mean, like, Riven, I was looking up, like, stuff about Riven on, like, Wikipedia and stuff, and it cost them so much money back then to make this game. They kind of went overboard with it, and all the reviews back then were saying, like, you know, it's like the best TV show ever, fully interactive. It was like all the reviews were like crazy for this game, and this game sold ridiculously. I mean, I think it had over 2 million sales in the first day or something like that. It was insane. And of course, through word of mouth, everybody was like, "Oh, do you know about this game?" Blah, blah. So, I mean, that's how I heard about it back then, or at least my dad did. I see. The interesting thing is, as a kid, I wasn't really up to date on the latest video games. My dad was. He'd go into like the local Radio Shack, and the owner of the Radio Shack, Mary, he'd ask, you know, what the latest games were, and she'd tell him. And Riven, at that point, when I got Riven, was the latest game. And so he asked if he could see what it played like. And so she took it out of the box and she booted it up for him on the computer. She was like that. It was really funny. You wanted to test out a game first before you bought it. She'd like rip it out. She'd like rip it out of the box. She'd be like, "Okay, let's install it. I got a computer here. Let's install it. Let's try it out. See if you like it." I always thought that was really funny because nowadays you can't do that. I mean, that would be cool if you could, but that's why we have demos, I guess, right? So he tested it out and he was blown away by it, and so he got it for me for Christmas. That would have been in 1995. Well, no, wait. Did it come out in 95 or was it 96? Actually, I don't even remember. Might have been even 93. But, yeah. And then I spent ages playing this game and replaying it over and over and over. I just loved the story so much that I kept on playing it over and over. Oh, come on. The problem with the dome puzzles is you have to time it just right to when the icon in the middle there lights up for a split second yellow. You want to press it right then and there. So sometimes it takes a few tries. Now what we want to do is we want to open up all the golden domes. Obviously a lot of you already know this because, I mean, a majority of you probably have played and beaten Riven numerous times. I mean, this game is a cult classic. Now we're going to have an alarm go off here because we're a stranger to the island. All right. That signals everybody in the local community below us, you know, get in your homes. There's a weirdo wandering around. We don't know who they are, but they're getting into all of our shit. Now, I always liked the design of all the environments in this game. I feel like a lot of thought went into, well, you know, how does this civilization live? What are their gadgets? What are they able to do? What technology do they have? And it was always really cool to like just see the world that was created. when you think about it, a lot of thought went into the Myst franchise through various forms of media, obviously video games, but I mean also they had all these Myst books. I remember back in the day, very popular. You could pick up like novels based around Myst and Riven and all the games. It was always really cool. I never really got into the books, but I had friends who definitely were. I wasn't as heavily invested in the worlds as most gamers were. Most gamers were like, oh my god, everything Myst related they wanted. So they went to like conventions and grabbed all these Myst books and, you know, all this stuff. I was never like that. I loved the game, but it never went any further than that. I had no interest in buying any of the books or anything. And I haven't even played all the games, if I'm being honest with you. I think the last Myst game I played was Myst 5, End of Ages, I think it was called. And then I know that they made a Myst Online, where it was like an online role-playing game, essentially, where you could play with all your friends. And I mean, that was cool, but I never played it. I was never one for online games to begin with, and so I kind of like skipped past that one. Okay, little girl, where are your parents? And did you know that an alarm just went off like 5 minutes ago, telling you to go home? Obviously, you don't listen very well. Maybe you're deaf. But either way, you should not be around when a complete stranger is here. Take note. The same thing happened with P. Diddy. Avoid at all costs. Anyway, let's continue on. So we want to go down here to the community. Now you're going to see a segment here of a little kid, I guess, playing on the dock, and then the mother sees us and rushes down and grabs him and goes, nope, nope, nope. There's a weirdo about. Again, I gotta say that I tried to fix this up as good as I could on the PS5. I tried to smooth over the graphics by tweaking the graphics and all that kind of stuff as best I could. But at the end of the day, this game honestly just looks so much better on PC. This is one of those ones where it's probably better to play the PC version of the game, as it's a little bit more immersive because it's not as pixelated. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, I don't understand why they wouldn't just port the PC version to the PS5. Why you would port the PS1 version, which obviously graphically was inferior to a PC at that time. So everything had this blurry haze over it. There was a lot more pixelation, a lot more tears in the environment, kind of like what we see here. Like, what the hell is that? That blue line. And so I never understood, like, this came out 2025. This came out like a couple of weeks back. And reasonably priced, obviously, very cheap. But I mean, why wouldn't you release the PC version instead? It just, to me, that doesn't make any sense unless they had some deal with Sony or something. Also, when I'm knocking on that door knocker, you can see the QuickTime video box. It's not blended properly on the PS1 version of the game, which is really odd to me, given that, you know, all of this looks so fluid and so natural on the PC, and then it felt like the PS1 version was half-assed, like badly put together. But don't get me wrong, either way, I'm just happy this game is finally out on a console, even if it is a shittier version of the game. Um, but obviously, and this is the crazy thing, is that I have an emulator on my phone, and I have Riven installed on my phone, so that I can play Riven on the go on my phone. And the version of Riven I have on my phone is the PC version, and it runs fine on my phone. And again, going back to what I'm saying was like, so why can't we have the PC version on PS5? Instead, we're stuck with the table scraps, as it were. I always liked the houses here. I thought they were really they were really well designed. And I remember back when I went to high school, we were allowed to bring games and install them on the school's computer at lunch hour and, in the computer lounge and play video games. We were allowed to do that. So I remember bringing in Riven, and I showed the houses to my art teacher in high school, and he was just blown away. He's like, that is like the coolest design. He thought it was really neat. Where is that ladder? It should be right beneath us. Why am I not... Why am I not seeing it? Oh, hold on. There we go. This was another thing that was missing from the VR version of the game, was the Sunderbirds on the rock here. In the VR version of the game, they don't exist. The rock is there, but they're nowhere to be seen. And I always hated that about the VR version of the game and the Unreal Engine remake of Riven, that they're not around. Like, they don't even exist anymore. I was like, dude, why did you take them out? They were, like, so cool. That's another reason why I hate the remake. They altered too much of the world, too much of the interesting things that were in the original Riven, that were in this version of Riven and the PC version, the original PC version. They're just non-existent in the Unreal Engine 5 remake, and I don't understand why. I'm actually going to go back down to the Sunderbirds for a sec to show you some interesting animations they have if you just stay there and stare at them. I forgot about that. They have some really cool animations of them stretching and yawning and everything. And I thought it was just really cool. I didn't know that they had extra animations when I originally played the PC game. I actually just found that out recently. I was like, oh, interesting. So his initial call there is obviously the male of, and the other one is the female. He's just kind of telling you back off, hey, like, don't come near me. That's my wife. She's fucking sleeping, buddy. Oh, there we go. Oh no, he's doing that again. All right. So there should be an animation that plays of them yawning and stretching. If it doesn't happen within the next couple of minutes, I'm just literally going to continue on with the game. I'm not going to just stand here and wait for it to happen. Because I feel like it is randomized. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to do that. He obviously knows that I'm watching them. He's like, do I look like a TV to you? Do I look like a fucking TV show to you? Okay. All right, there's the yawn, and then there. Oh, that was a weird transition there. There should be one of like the female like stretching out. And again, if it doesn't play, I'm just gonna carry on. I think the thing I always liked the most about Riven was the real-time shadow effects that they added in, or at least they looked real-time anyway. I mean, you have to realize that a lot of this was all blue screen, like the actors over top of blue screen, and then a lot of CGI. But the shadow effects were so well done. Okay, I'm just gonna. And as a kid growing up playing the game, I didn't know much about gaming technology. Like, I didn't know about, like, the backstories of how games were made or anything because, back then you didn't care. So back then I thought all of this was filmed. Like, I thought, oh my god, they actually built movie sets and they filmed all this on a set and everything because I was like, well, how else can you explain it? Like, the shadows look so real. It can't be blue screen. Well, yes, it is blue screen. Those shadows are drawn in. All right, so we're gonna scare them off. So we're gonna just go up a little bit here. We're gonna scare them off. Let them run into the water, and continue on our way. We need to go to the sub. Now, these all play a crucial part later on in the game when we have to go to one of the other islands. I already know the solution to this puzzle, but this is obviously in the shape of a beetle, the fountain, and then when we rotate the ball, the sound that the ball makes is the sound of a beetle flying away. Very similar to the beetle that flew away when we tried to put our cursor near it. That all plays a part in a later puzzle in the game, so it's kind of like little hints as to the order in which a puzzle needs to be solved. Now, this part I always had issues with. It's really hard to remember the order in which this part of the game is drawn out, in a sense, because like we have to go to a specific area, and we can only reach it by sub. But there's like these tracks all over the place, and half the time you think, oh well, this is the area I need to go to, and then you get out of the water, and you realize, nope, that's not where I needed to go. So I'm going to assume we rolled down from the right side. So let's try going to the left side and see where that takes us. I have the funniest feeling it's not taking us where we need to go, but I need to figure this out now, because like in order to map out this underwater area, it's better for me to figure out where everything is set up. I'm going to assume this is over by the dock. Possibly. Oh, is this where we just came from? Let's spin around for a sec. I think this is literally where we just were. Yeah, okay. So this is where we came from. All right, so then the other route technically should lead us further away from this location. So we want to go... let's switch this around, come back from where we came from. Oh yeah, that was definitely the entrance. All right, so we'll go up the right side of that track. We'll switch that around, go up the right side of the track, and see where that takes us. Oh yeah, and that we did come from the left side. I should have realized that. See, herein lies my problem with being able to speedrun Riven. While I know all the solutions to all the puzzles, I literally still have them grafted in my head from when I was a kid, because I played the game so much that I don't need a walkthrough. But the biggest problem with speedrunning this game is this part of the game is so annoying. Having to figure out where everything is, and half the time not even being able to remember the pattern of where everything is. All right, so that's the docks. Okay. All right, so now that we know that, we'll turn around the submarine again, go straight, and then follow the trail forward. Oh. What? That layout kind of doesn't make any sense to me. All right, so let's try going right. That should theoretically lead us to where we need to go, if this is set up right. If it's not, God only knows where it's going to take us. So we're coming down the left track. So let's spin that around and go on the right track, and that should theoretically take me to. It'll either take me to the school, or it will take me to the lookout tower, which is what I need to go to be able to extend all the docks. Okay. Okay, so this is definitely the lookout tower. I can tell because of the sculpture here. So this is right. All right, so we're good. So we just want to extend all of the docks so that we're able to traverse to all of them. All right, so now with that in mind, if we reverse here and then take a left, that should take us to the school. I would think. Because this... It could also be the right. But let's take a left here and see where that takes us. That'll either take us to the school or it'll take us to... It should take us to the school. Okay, yeah. So Gehn school. All right. So that's okay. That all makes sense. It's a lot less harder than I realized once you map out everything in your head and realize, okay, everything is actually where it should be. So that's pretty cool. Now this little mini game allows the kids to learn the Dunny numbers, or Dunny numbers at a young age. The symbol at the bottom, so see how that diver went down 5 clicks? So that's the symbol for 5 in the Dunny language. So you use this to map out the numbers, the symbols, and the numbers that they represent, because you'll need that later on to solve a puzzle. I already know all these off by heart, but we'll do this until the game ends. It's a neat little mini game. So that symbol is the one for 10. I love how the other one never reels itself up. It just like magically just goes up by itself. I always found that funny. But anyway, now up at the front of the classroom, whoops, is a hologram of Gehn teaching the class. Now, I always found that funny that in this world, Gehn is kind of like treated like a messiah, when realistically, he doesn't have the best interest of the people at heart. I mean, he's more of a dictator than anything else.
Terekoi Danni, ki bayem revat, al royem beetig tavom, ga bodona gayem. Ram.
Yeah. So I don't know what was going on in these classrooms. It'd be interesting to see that the teacher would just come in and then just crank that hologram and have Gehn teach the class, or whatever the hell he was doing. Taking attendance. God only knows what he was doing. right, so we're gonna reverse now, and we're going to head back to the one area that we need to go up. I mean, realistically, the school is not necessary to visit. It is if you're going to take notes on all the Denis numbers and all that stuff, and learn them for a later puzzle. But aside from that, it's really not necessary to visit. It fleshes out more of the story, if anything else, by having you learn that Gehn is kind of like treated like he's royalty when, you know, he's the opposite. Now, if I did this right, we should be right where we need to be. If I did this wrong, we should be right where we are not needed to be. Yes, we are where we needed to be. All right. Perfect. Oh. That is the sound of a wark. A giant fish. That is the sound of somebody feeding him. Which we'll get to soon enough, because we get to feed him too. Alright. Now, if we look through this cage here, we'll see that there's a... I think that's possibly one of Gehn's... It's either one of Gehn's guards locked up, or it's...
Hello.
Hey, James, how you doing, buddy? You missed 2 streams today, technically. Well, you're joining a little bit late for the Riven stream, but you missed... I also did a stream of Star Wars Rebel Assault 2 Remastered earlier on. Which you can find on my playlist section. But you're not too late for Riven. We're just kind of finishing up on the second island. Alright, so we're going to go into that prison cell, because we need to use a specific room in there to link to another island.
Oh nice, yeah, I saw and rewatched some of that stream, can't believe I missed it.
Oh, no worries, man. Who knows, maybe I'll stream it again in the future. I mean, I love Rebel Assault 2, so I could see myself streaming it again. I ended up deleting my old stream of it, so I had already streamed it now technically twice, because I streamed it last year, but I did not like how that stream was. So I deleted it and just decided, yeah, you know what? It's a year later, I'll just restream it. And besides, Lewis was interested in watching, so I was like, oh, yeah, whatever, let's do it. Might as well. It's not a long game anyway. I mean, it's an hour-long game. It's not like, unlike Riven, which might have to be in multiple parts. I'm not entirely sure. I hope not, but 1 hour and 11 minutes in so far. I think we'll be able to beat it today, to be honest. I am not seeing... I need to go back. Because I am not seeing... Whoops. Okay. So that's where I turned on the light. So the next light... Oh. There we go. Okay. Lo and behold, a door! Wow, will wonders never cease? A door! How wonderful! Alright, so this leads us into the linking chamber. And believe it or not, I have this puzzle solution in my head because I played this game so much as a kid that I actually know this solution off by heart. Fish, beetle, frog, sunner, wark. So we want to go fish. Where is our fish? Fish. Beetle? There is so much unnecessary bullshit I have stuck in my head that I remember from when I was a kid. And this was one of them. Knowing this puzzle off by heart. Another one was... I know the entire Star Trek Starfleet Academy, the game. I know Shatner's entire opening monologue off by heart, which is kind of scary. But that's because I played it so much. I think that's our work right there. Yes, it is. There we go. Puzzle solved. Woot woot. I was going to say, are you going to let me touch it? I need to go to that location. I don't want to just see it spin for 20 years. All right, here we are. This is, I think it's called Yan Island or something like that. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the exact name of this island. It always had a weird name. But this is technically where the Denis live, or at least an area where they live. And of course, they're going to drug you because they don't know who the hell you are. Just some guy moseying into their way of life. To them, you could work for Gehn. They don't know. At least not yet.
Katarina now da saya palo. Yapa ay manay yalepo. Miotisay. Bekaretere wira pe yelo kene falapo. Tisay. Why te fulupe?
So that's one of the Dunny guards, female guards. She's working for Catherine, so she basically gives you Catherine's journal here, and then she'll come back in and give us the trap book and all that kind of stuff, which we need to capture Gehn. So if you remember at the beginning of the game, when we first arrived through Atrus's linking book, Gehn's guard tries to take our trap book, then he gets drugged by a blow dart by one of the Dunny warriors. That Dunny warrior was either her or one of her other friends who managed to grab the trap book that Gehn's guard was trying to steal from us, and is now reuniting us with that trap book because we're going to need it to stop Gehn.
Sirapo. Ibuko mo buko wisipo. Na vene. Tapa mo revene beno. Now, Katarina ne. Wisifa polo ya sepe yai.
All right, so this linking book that she gave us is just going to take us back to where we came from, so we can get the hell out of here. Now, one of the bad endings to this game is how you can trap Gehn and then take him here and then release him from the book. That's one of the endings to the game. One of the bad endings to the game. Obviously, in this playthrough, I'm not going to go through all the bad endings, because there's like 6 bad endings and 1 good ending, and I think we're just going to go for the good ending. Okay, and next stop, what I like to call Wood Chipper Island. And of course, the best way to travel, by log cart. Now in the VR version, I didn't much care for the log cart ride. I felt it was so much more immersive on the original Riven game. The remake, it just felt, I don't know, it just didn't feel as fun. Which again, that might just be because, you know, this was the game I grew up with. I didn't grow up, obviously, with the Unreal Engine 5 remake. And to me, the remake, as I said earlier, kind of just deviated a lot from what I remembered of the original Riven game, to the point where I would just like to have seen a faithful remaster of Riven instead of what we got, which was a remaster, or a remake rather, but with so much more added content that it kind of confused and baffled me. Now again, for those of you who don't know, I did mention this earlier, but I did do a little playthrough, not a full playthrough, but kind of like a little quick look, if you will, of Riven VR, which was the Unreal Engine 5 remake of Riven in VR on the Quest 2. I did do a little mini playthrough of that on my YouTube channel. So take a look out for that video. It's somewhere lurking on my channel. And I do talk about how the game had really changed a lot from what I remembered, and that it's just not as good in my opinion. I preferred the game with the real actors as opposed to these little cartoon CGI characters that the remake had. I just feel like it lost a lot of its style when they changed that. I would have liked, and as I said before, I would have liked if they had given us the option, kind of like they did in Myst 1 VR, to incorporate the original FMV video segments in the VR version, but they didn't want to do that because Riven, when they were recreating all the environments in Unreal Engine 5, they realized that incorporating the FMV segments into the Unreal Engine 5 environment did not look good. And so, like I said, I do understand the need for why they went with CGI characters. But again, to me, that's what makes it lose its appeal. It's to take that away. To me, it's two things. One, it's kind of like a big fuck you to the actors who played the roles, because then you're just getting like voiceover recording of their FMV segments with CGI characters, and the expressions are not the same. They try to be, but that should be draining. Why isn't that draining? What did I do wrong here? Is that the lever to pump out the water? Well, that's to stop it boiling. Let's see here. Yeah, no, that's just lowering and extending the ladder. We definitely want that up. We need to get that water out of there. I doubt this is going to do much, but let's try. Yeah, that did nothing. All right, so we'll put this back out. The only thing I can think is that I don't have the... there we go. All right. Okay. That's what we want. All right, now the question is that ladder extended too high now, or is it at ground level? Let's find out. Okay. So now that we've reached here, we want to go back down, because we're going to switch that middle lever that's out in the middle of the lake. We want to switch it over so that we can use the frog machine. Got to power that frog machine so we can catch a frog. For no reason other than fun. That's another thing that was kind of missing in the Unreal Engine 5 remake of Myst, or Riven, I mean. Was I don't think the frog catching machine was in the game. I think that was another thing that was scrapped from the game for whatever reason. So we're going to catch two frogs with this thing, because both frogs have a different animation, and they actually look pretty realistic. So we just wait around until the machine goes clang, and then we reel this thing up. Oh god, I wonder what we caught. Is it a rubber boot? No, it's a frog. And now we're going to put it down again and catch another one. And the second frog has a totally different animation, so it's kind of cool. Wait, what am I doing? That's not going to catch the frog. Yes, try to eat that, why don't you? All right, there's our little clang. All right, there was absolutely no point in doing that, to be honest. All it is so that you can remember the sound of the frog. Not that you shouldn't be able to understand how a frog sounds, but it's needed for another. The sound is needed for a puzzle later on in the game. A lot of the puzzles in the game made by Gehn and Atrus and whoever rely a lot on sound, I've noticed. What the hell happened there? Oh, right. Now comes the fun part of trying. Now comes the fun part of trying to click this just right so that we can open up that dome. It's kind of annoying because you have to... Ooh. Did that do it? No, it didn't because I exited off of the damn... Oh boy. There we go. Alright, so that shut off the power to the fan that's above the fish capturing device. We're going to do something else quickly, which is to take this giant bridge and head back to the first island through the bridge to just extend something here. All right, there we go. I like to do these kind of things as soon as I can, because later on when we come back to this location, which we invariably will, because we need to do the one of the final puzzles in the game at this location. Everything is technically already done for me. I just kind of show up, do the final puzzle, don't have to worry about anything else. So I like to fucking hell. One sec. Apologies. My phone's going off like crazy. I'm getting a lot of text messages. And there we go again, another one. Oh boy. Anyway, we're just going to ignore those. Alright. So, we want to go back to the fan and crawl into it. You know, as most sane people like to do. Crawl inside fans. That is not... Okay. This is Gehn's lab, so this is Gehn's journal. Now, I don't like the way the PS1 version. So on the PC version, when you open the book, it was on actual pages, and you would turn the pages. On the PS1 version, it does this, which I don't really much like. But anyway, we'll read this out. The latest ink formulation has proven a failure, even when writing my most promising books. I obtain only the barest glimmer of a connection. It is frustrating to expend so much effort creating a blank book, only to end up destroying it when it doesn't work. There are days when the lab is uncomfortably warm from the flames of these failed attempts. The further I refine each element, the formulations of the inks and papers, the physical dimensions of the books, the more I realize that the list of potential combinations is nearly infinite. It is during moments like these that I despair. Without access to Denis, my long-term goals may never be accomplished. Nevertheless, there are avenues of research which remain to be explored. I am discontinuing regular observations of the stars beneath the fissure. Although I've been able to track the dark cloud-like formations that migrate through the starfield and have proven that their paths are cyclical, without proper instrumentation it is pointless to continue. My general theory concerning the nature of the fissure has remained unaltered since its first appearance. It seems that the fabric of this age has been breached in a way that permits matter to be hospitably exchanged between two discrete but overlapping spaces, much like a link. But the apparent physical contradictions surrounding this juncture defy logical reason. The great column of wind that was formed with the fissure first appeared suggests a vacuum as one might expect in space. Yet my early experimentations revealed the presence of a breathable atmosphere. That Atrus and Catherine threw themselves into the void is further evidence that it might be safe to travel. But without knowing its true nature, I cannot take the risk myself. It is also difficult to say what would happen if I were to reopen it after so long. But it is likely that the results would be catastrophic, given the changes that have occurred in this age since that time. Maintenance on the steam vent caps completed 83-10. I am extremely pleased with the continued success of this system. I believe the construction to have been true to the Denis designs of my memory. Another example of the superiority of the Denis technology, it's iconic that Atrus and Catherine unwittingly provided me with such a convenient source of power. As with many of my views over the years, my thoughts regarding the origins of the fissure have changed. I have recently begun to wonder whether it was actually an unexpected byproduct of the changes Catherine and Atrus wrote into this age during their escape. Certainly, by casting their linking book into the void, they trapped me here quite effectively. But I do not believe that Atrus intended the book to be lost in this manner. Much better to destroy it than to risk the possibility of it falling into unknown hands. Also, had they foreseen the creation of the fissure, they would surely have thought that the vacuum it created would eventually consume the atmosphere of the planet, a fate which Catherine undoubtedly would have deemed unacceptable for her home world. If I had not been there to supervise the construction of the seal, this is most certainly what would have happened. For the villagers were far too frightened to even approach the vortex without my urging. I hold on to the brief that it was an unintended consequence of their writing, for another reason as well. I prefer to think that my son had meant for this age to be merely a prison for me, rather than a deadly sentence. The construction of the imagers has proceeded without fault. It is interesting to see how easily I've been able to adapt the Gehn technology to mimic that of the Ahmad. In some ways, the similarities between the two cultures was striking. I wonder if perhaps there had been communication or commerce between the two cultures in earlier times. Maybe Keta's people were even descendants of the Gehn. It pleases me to think so. Note, it's possible that if I were somehow able to supply the books with a power source of sufficient magnitude, I could suppress the variance enough to facilitate a solid link. It is doubtful that the geothermal cap generators could provide such an enormous surge. Perhaps I could adapt the 5 marbles. I've been cataloguing the nature elements of this age for nearly 30 years now, yet still I continue to find evidence of the Ghehn's preoccupation with 5. As a boy, it was very clear to me that the number 5 had special significance to the Gehn society, from the ancient heraldic emblems of the ruling elite to the humble homes of the commoners. It was ubiquitous. Its presence here is obviously a direct reflection of the minds that designed the texts that I used to compose this age. Further proof that through their art the Gehn masters were indeed creating the marvelous worlds that they wrote, and not as many have mistakenly thought, merely building links to pre-existing worlds. While most of my constructions have been based on Gehn designs, I now see that the ones that I have imbued with the power of 5 are clearly the most beautiful, the most perfect, and I believe the most structurally sound. I am still attempting to determine how the Gehn color symbology reflects a superior design principle, although superficially it is based on a 6-color system. I am convinced that there has to be a deeper connection to 5. I will continue to investigate. I finally made a breakthrough. I have succeeded in modifying the 5 marbles to generate enough power to hold a descriptive linking book in a stable matrix. I have linked to a new world. It is a harsh and desolate age, but is nonetheless well suited for my purposes. And so I have designed it my number. By studying it closely, I believe I will eventually be able to create a more appropriate age for us to resettle on. For now, I will build an office and set up my living quarters there, in order that I may conduct my experiments in safety and without distraction. I must admit that I am proud of my work. To think that in such primitive conditions I have accomplished in 29 years what it took the original Gehn centuries to achieve. Note: repair outer wear for work on this world. The goggles may need to be redesigned altogether. I have begun construction on a series of link sites for each island that will connect Riven with my new office on whatever number. The Survey Guild has finally completed the site location for each island. According to my exact specifications, an installation of the domes is underway at last. Work on the central power source got off to a bit of a bad start, I'm afraid. But the pace has picked up considerably since then, and I anticipate no further delays. I'm looking forward to finally having a civilized mode of transportation. Due to the rebels' continued disturbances, I've decided to install a coded access system into all of the domes. I caught one of my assistants looking over this journal today. I'm glad I've chosen to write it in a language they cannot decipher. Note: discuss security with each guild master. No problems expected from the maintainers, educators, and surveyors. Question the bookmakers and builders more closely. Today I heard several more reports of spirit sightings by some of the villagers. It seems that under Catherine's leadership, the rebels, or the black moiety, as the villagers ostentatiously insist on referring them, have attained a new level of sophistication in their terror tactics, and have renewed their campaign to intimidate the villagers into joining them. Playing upon their shared superstitions, the villagers are certainly susceptible to this form of coercion, especially given of late the rebels' increasing acts of vandalism and theft. The Etram traps have been steadily fruitful this year. Apparently, the breakup of the islands has not adversely affected the subterranean ecosystems. Unfortunately, I imagine the rebels are experiencing a similarly generous harvest. No shortage of poison for their darts this season. Such morbid issues aside, the sudden availability has allowed me to refine a particularly pleasant extract for my pipe, one that is smoother than any of the others from recent years. Chemical analysis of one of the rebel knives has yielded curious results. Its composition contains elements that are unlike anything I've encountered on the islands. It appears they have access to a resource of which I am unaware. Perhaps a mine or an uncharted island. Note: most of the knives have been found on the south side of the village. This is the same area in which there have been reports of people mysteriously disappearing. I think a closer inspection of the area is warranted. The fact that they leave their distinctive knives as a sign of their presence concerns me. They're growing more bold, and seem to no longer fear discovery of their hideout. The latest measurements indicate that the recent trend has continued. The movement of the islands has slowed tremendously. My previous estimates predicted a total collapse in approximately 3 months.
Speaking of rebels, what was the Star Wars game about? Last I saw you were at some base talking about how the main character is a farm boy. Lol.
But with the new figures I am uncertain. I have nearly finished writing the such and such age, and I have every faith they will indeed be a safe place for us to relocate to. Yet it would be helpful to know what has caused the halt in this age's breakup. It is possible that it's stable after all. If so, I must discover how this age differs from my less successful attempts. My examinations of the such and such age have thus far proven inconclusive. Or perhaps someone is repairing the damage to the 5th age. If so, it would almost certainly be Atrus's doing. I have reluctantly decided to abandon my experiments into the behavior of the water of this age, as there are more...
A diary for 45 minutes.
That's funny. As there are more pressing matters on which I must now concentrate, leaving me little time for such speculative research for further reference. However, my investigations up to this point have revealed the following. I believe the remarkable properties of the water to be caused by a life form that resides in it. Specifically, a type of bacteria. I am imagining a motile, unicellular organism, but one with structures capable of holding bits of water, whose combined effect via surface tension, a stronger force, causes the composite body of water to move in response to heat. Prolonged exposure to extreme heat, for example, a period of extended boiling, seems to kill the bacteria, which would explain its dramatic aversion to heat sources. Unfortunately, these theories are still not fully tested, and I remain ignorant both of its deeper nature and its possible uses. Oh boy. An exciting development. Last night, a squad of maintainers stumbled upon a lone rebel scout and obtained from him a most incredible device. It is a crystal that somehow powers these flawed linking books, much as my own system does, but with an obvious advantage. It is small and weighs only a few pounds, making it completely portable. Catherine must have fabricated the device before I captured her. Obviously, with an explicit Denis schematic she must have brought with her to this age. If only I'd had access to such a document all these years. Regardless, I can now concentrate solely on the writing of ages, and need no longer worry about building elaborate power supplies for each new book I write. This is a sobering reminder, however, that I must continue to seek an avenue to Denis. Regaining access to the resources there may be crucial to the completion of my mission. Oh, thank God. I think that's the end of the book. All right, so, but what we do need to do is I need to go back a little bit here. So there's a combination here that we need. This changes in every playthrough of Riven. This is randomly generated. So we're going to just commit that to memory with a pen and paper here. So give me a sec here, and then we will continue on. All right. In answer to your question, James, the Star Wars Rebel Assault 2 game is based around, it's set during the 4, 5, and 6 timeline, and it covers Darth Vader making these Imperial interceptors that have the ability to cloak. They call them Phantom Fighters. Yeah, it's a really short game. I mean, like, you can watch my stream after this if you want. I don't think there's anything else to interact with in here, as I recall. I think mainly what we come in here for is Gehn's book, which we just need to get those numbers from. I'm going to double check to make sure, though, but I think that's everything.
That must have hurt your voice.
Yeah, it was kind of starting to hurt. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Gehn is very British in the game. His actor is actually from Star Wars, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, I didn't sound exactly like him, but I did the best I could. He has a more ominous voice than what I gave him. I made him sound more like John Cleese. So he's been burning linking books. That's interesting. All right. All right, so what we need to do is we need to pull this. Where are you? Or push this, I should say. Push this button here. That summons the tram. And we'll take the tram to the new island. Plateau Island, I believe it is. We're actually almost done the game, but I do think that this is going to be a two playthroughs because we're already at 2 hours. So I think once we arrive at Plateau Island, I'll probably end the stream there. But again, it's really good to see Myst and Riven finally making an appearance on a PlayStation console. I mean, they've been on on Xbox for quite a while now, and I was like, well, why isn't PlayStation getting it? Like, don't get me wrong, I have an Xbox, and I don't really use it that often, but I was really shocked to see that Xbox is now putting Sierra classic games on the Xbox, like Space Quest, Police Quest, Leisure Suit Larry.
Star Wars game was neat, but I imagine it's not canon.
I think it is because George Lucas was heavily involved in that game's creation, more so than he has ever been involved in any other Star Wars game. So I talked about it. Watch the stream because I talk about it a lot. I talk about the game's production and everything. And just watch the stream and you'll see what I discuss. But they were involved, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. All right, so let's get this bad boy to its destination.
Oh, interesting. So there's another farm boy rebel in the rebellion.
See, that part is stupid to me. I actually brought that up too. I was like, oh, well, maybe all the rebels in the galaxy are just farm boys. Same with the Jedi.
Oh, another farm boy you are. Yes.
No, I don't want to save. So, we are actually going to spin this tram around and go out the other door. And that's where we're going to end the stream, at that spot.
Lol, it's like if all Gungans were pilots.
Right? It's so stupid. I mean, that and little things like kind of like scenes that were in the movie that were like rewritten for the game were kind of cringy, I guess. But all in all, I do love Rebel Assault 2. It is one of my favorite FMV Star Wars games. Well, I mean, it's the only FMV Star Wars game aside from, you know, the cutscenes in Star Wars Jedi Knight. But anyway, yes, we are at the water elevator, so I think we're going to end the stream there. I should have a save already in this spot. How about we... Yeah, let me just double check here. Yes, I do. So perfect. So we'll continue from that save in the next stream of Riven. So... Oh, I can actually adjust the cursor speed. That would have been useful earlier. All right. Well, good to know. And look, they don't even give you an inventory like in the original Riven on PC. Instead, it's like in the menu. That's crazy. Well, anyway, that was Riven remastered on the PS5. Not really a remaster, but I mean, it looks better than the PS1 version, that's for sure. It doesn't look as good as the PC version, but I mean, I'm just happy to finally have classic Riven on the PS5. I mean, I've been wanting this game on a PlayStation console for ages. So it's really nice to be able to have this, because again, this was a game I grew up with. I mean, literally the day this came out, I ended up getting it that year for Christmas, and so I played the shit out of this game over and over and over. I must have beaten it like 1,000 times when I was younger. So because of that, I do know the solution to all the puzzles already. It's in my head. I don't need a walkthrough or anything, so we're just gonna breeze through this game as quickly as possible. So I think that by the next stream, the second part of this stream, we'll have finished the game, because there's not much left. There's only a couple more puzzles to do, and then we're done. So I could keep this going, but I do have plans tonight, unfortunately. So yeah, we're gonna end it here. So thank you, Always Asleep, Sean, who's Sean? James, there we go. Your name's Sean now, by the way. No, James and Lewis for tuning in to tonight's live stream of Riven, the sequel to Myst. Thank you once again, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. If you missed any of the previous live streams, you can check them out in the playlist section. I have played Riven VR, and I did do a little, not really a full playthrough of it, but I did play a little bit of it, and I had my thoughts on that about a year or so ago. So just search it up in my YouTube channel. You'll find it in there, Riven VR, and you'll see just how different it deviates. It totally deviates from the classic Riven that we're playing right now. Completely different. And it was kind of confusing for me when I was streaming it. I was like, where is everything that everything that I knew that I knew how to get to, all the puzzles, everything had changed. And I didn't necessarily like it. I felt that there was too much of a change, and for someone like me who doesn't really like a whole lot of change in his classic games, I was kind of disappointed. Likewise, I was disappointed with the visuals. They got rid of all the actors who starred in the game and replaced them with CGI, and it just felt like cartoon characters that I was interacting with. It lost its appeal for sure. But anyway, yes, that's it for me for tonight, guys. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon at the Gamers Grotto. Take care once again. Have a good one, guys, and we'll be back in a couple of days with more of Riven, more of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and next month we'll be going into Ready or Not, which is finally getting released on the PS5. So we'll be playing that both single player and with friends. I've been dying to play that game. It's supposed to be like the classic SWAT games, except very modernized and a lot more realistic. So definitely looking forward to playing that. Anyway, guys, have a wonderful night. Take care. We'll see you soon.